jump into it. So first things first, I wanted to talk about the portal for a few reasons. There's just a couple things I want to show off. Real quickly, obviously last week this was, super monumental for us as a community, getting our initial community onboarded. Obviously, we're actually very happy with the easeability that everybody was actually able to get into the portal with. There were very minimal hiccups from the users end. There were just a couple small things of people, not being able to verify with their email, and they just, had to refresh and go through the flow once again. But we're super happy with, how easy it is to connect your wallet. I know there's a bit of a discrepancy. People want to, have one account with multiple wallets. Totally understand. Just right now where we're at with the infrastructure, the way for me personally, switching between wallets, it works pretty smoothly. I've been able to test with both Venly and MetaMask, so really happy on my end. I've been able to mess around with this thing in the development environment for the last couple months, and seeing all these cool features, being slowly phased out is going to be really awesome for the community, and just seeing this platform, slowly build itself over time. So, just obviously a couple things I want to highlight. There's a couple more after this. I just wanted to throw in there's my king and my silks. I just wanted to take this opportunity to show it off. I love the way that the silk, the color combination comes out on the silks. It's a little bit of a low res the way the photo translated, but you can see the Ethereum pattern is on the top of the horse there. I forget the name. I'm blanking.
Subtle flag.
Yeah, and just super excited. I took a couple more higher res pictures of some different types of avatars. I just wanted to kind of show off. You can kind of go through the different stages of what we consider like rarity to be. Give me a second. They're just on my. I'm really fancy here. I got another computer for these pictures because I wanted them in a bit higher quality. So the first one, 2 seconds. I think everybody's done their due diligence, but for those of you guys that haven't, this is obviously the ape in 3D. Super stoked about that. The ape's head is a lot like more enlarged. Something that I think that is a little bit undervalued that I wanted to bring attention to is how nice the velocity masks look as well. And so this is a little bit from like...
Oh yeah, dope. Reminds me of Halo.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people wondering like how the velocity masks were going to look from the backside. And so like the commentary around it was, make it a little bit more rounded on the back, so it kind of matches how the front works. And if you spin it around the side angle, it meshes pretty perfectly. And then finally, I just wanted to grab something from like, I wouldn't consider it, from what we would consider to be, more of a common look, right? Super awesome. I think this is one of the first like patterns and designs that we showed all the way back in April, as far as like common avatars go. I think it's called the. I was just looking at this trait the other day. The trait patterns on the sleeves and in the hat are super awesome. And so just kind of getting a glimpse at how these 3D assets are going to start to look as you're interacting with them. Super fulfilling, I know, for the entire community. So if we go back up to the marketplace, obviously there's a ton of functionality inside of it in terms of what eventually is going to be coming along with it. Right now it's obviously very visual, but you can kind of see the functionality that's there in terms of being able to look through your assets, see them all in 3D, and also be able to identify who owns that asset. If the asset is connected to a Silks wallet that's under a profile, so for example, my avatar is owned by me. I've created my Silks username and profile, and when you click on that avatar, it will actually show you the profile page, or not the profile page, but it'll show you that it's owned by me. And we're working on functionality, obviously, where you're going to be able to fully interact with those profiles. People can, stay anonymous if they wish by, not registering. But as we go along, I'm sure everybody's going to want to display their assets, kind of sort of how they have it on OpenSea. But you'll be able to, have your About Me page featured to everybody. You're going to have, be able to write a short description about your stable and your business and game, all that kind of stuff. So just really bringing that sociability we were talking about, from those games that we were talking about from Web 2, into Web 3. And I think, we look at how the marketplace chats are operating in Discord. This is just going to help take it to the next level. So,
dude, very exciting.
Very exciting.
Wow, you got some good, sweet. Oh,
I just want to say those are not all my avatars, by the way. So if you own the, if you own the ape, if you own the velocity mask, we were using your
tropical.
Yeah, we were using your template. So why don't
Dope.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to talk about in regards to the portal. Um, no, that's it. The stable page is obviously really centralized for all of your horses. Um, Functionality will obviously come around with fractionalization for you to view all of those tokens and accordingly. But just for our initial launch of the platform, I think the community is super excited, and we are as well. So can't
So
wait
excited.
for more functionality at this point. And I think everybody is as well. So getting forward to race
Yeah, this is like
season.
that nice first dopamine hit.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think I thought about it did I have the same feeling that I did looking at the portal that I did when I revealed my assets originally, like a traditional NFT reveal? And I think the answer is no. I think when you look at the reason I'm showing these 3D models is when you look at the avatar actually making a pose, and you actually see in Benny's demo the avatar moving around, and you start to imagine what your own colors are going to look like. It just takes that idea of okay, this is what I got during my reveal, this is what I'm actually going to get from it. It's not just a PFP versus we've talked about this to death, but actually being able to take that to the next level here and
Use
see
it,
it, and interact with it.
and eventually you can walk wherever you want, and you're dressed as this character. It's very
Yep.
cool. Very cool. Plus, you could ride a fucking horse. Oh my god, dude! I sat on the portal and I was watching my horses do different gallops and trots
Oh, it's so
for
cool.
for
That's so
an
cool.
extended period of time. Yeah.
Um, Speaking about the horses, obviously yesterday we had a slight technical difficulty with the auction, so we'll be resuming that this evening. It will be starting at 6 p.m. Eastern on the Game of Silk Twitch channel. Hope to see everybody in the audience. They're always a blast. We have a good time doing them and talking about the horses with Chuck and Troy. So should be fun. But now we can jump into the meat of today's discussions, because there's a lot of stuff going on, for the good and the bad. And we'll talk about the bull market and such a little bit later as we get on. Everybody's talking about the Bored Ape Sewer Club, the sewer passing that's going on. I also want to talk about the Hasbulla project, and I don't want to talk about it for what it is. I want to talk about it because I think it. You're gonna laugh.
You did
but
not.
I think it signals a lot, something a lot better than what the project is itself. So that's why we're talking about it. And then obviously,
There's muds in the screen.
what's that?
I think I see a little.
Oh yeah, I
muds
left.
in there.
I'm just leaving the watermark from now on.
All right, that's our watermark.
Yeah, it's big boy in the top right corner.
We're gonna go ahead and CCO that image.
All right, now you need to help me out here because I need some enlightenment here too on.
This is interesting.
I've been a bit
This is interesting.
in my.
Here, let me explain it to you. Okay. So we all know and love Bored Ape Yacht Club. They released this new piece of their whole universe, which is pretty interesting. And each ape and mutant ape, so regular and mutants, could each claim one sewer pass. There were special sewer passes if you had a kennel club to go with it. And they hinted at a sweet bonus on the sewer pass if you had a kennel club and a Bored Ape or mutant ape. And basically the backstory behind this whole thing is kind of strange. So an ape named Jimmy took a shit so atomic that it ripped a hole in the space-time continuum. And then a different ape named Curtis was handed a key and a box from a person from this other universe that came out of this space-time continuum. And then they all got drunk, and Jimmy somehow drank the key while partying, and it stuck in his butt. And now it's up to us, this is a quote, and we have to take the long way to get the key through the sewer. So basically, once you claim a sewer pass, the sewer pass is your key to play this game called Dookie Dash. And there's a screenshot on the screen, kind of like a Subway Surfer style game where you're dodging obstacles and collecting certain things. What's interesting here is that the Dookie Dash ends, the ending of Dookie Dash, it's for a certain amount of time. You can see on the slides it says the sewer is open from January 18th to February 8th. So at the end of when the sewer closes on February 8th, the leaderboard closes, and whoever has the highest score gets to claim the key.
So the game turns off on February 8th.
The game will turn off
Okay.
on February 8th. Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm unclear. It's unclear on whether the game will turn
It's
off.
the game
but
or
the
the
leaderboard.
right.
The leaderboard will be shut off.
Okay.
Yeah. And then basically, one person gets the key, and then there's like the summoning, um, which happens well, it's February 8th, and then I think they spend like a week or so verifying all the scores to make sure no one like hacked the game or whatever, and then like a week later or so there's a summoning, and here this gets weird. I'm trying to see my notes. Okay, so when the sewer closes, the leaderboard freezes, and then all eligible sewer passes will prepare for the summoning. Your high score is tied to the combination of your wallet and your sewer pass.
Okay.
So moving the pass to another wallet after putting a high score on it gets rid of the score and makes it new for the person if you buy it on OpenSea.
I like that.
But a cool mechanic is if you transfer that sewer pass back to your original wallet, you would keep your score because it's tied to your wallet with the leaderboard info. Okay, so the summoning. So the story behind the summoning is Gary the Great Dog Prophet has been studying this box that was handed to you, and you can't open it because the key's been stuck in Jimmy's ass. And then once you get the key, obviously after the whole sewer thing, the dog wants to do a ritual on the box. And on February 15th, eligible passes get to participate. And I guess for that one person, they get the key, but for everyone else, like your high score determines what is revealed for you. And it's some like power source, but I guess like how good your power source is depends on your score. And then, after Dookie Dash, what's cool is they're starting this thing where there's going to be more mini games that come after Dookie Dash that the sewer pass is going to be involved with. And this is just the first part of that interesting series that they're starting.
So another piece of this Yuga stuff that it's not on the slides, but something that I came across this week actually is the good old blockchain detectives that we all know and love. They're everywhere. They're in every project, for the good and the bad. We love them. We hate them.
Well, you hate them.
No, I love them.
Because you're a hacker.
Somebody found a line in the sewer pass code that actually referred to something along the lines of robots, and it was alluded to at 3 different points in the code across different files. And so there were a couple of large Twitter threads kind of saying that people kind of cracked the code and they figured out that Yuga was planning to release some sort of robotic themed collection in the near future. It actually turns out that engineers came onto the threads and debunked this theory and actually said, listen, actually this function robot is actually it's just as simple as trying to prevent bots from accessing the internal files of the game. So people are so invested in like this mystery of what Yuga's building and what they think is coming next. We're talking about this more mini games to come. People are just going to see like the first thing that they see in code that looks a little bit off, and they're like, that's got to be it, And
yeah.
I feel bad for Yuga because it's in the sense of like now people are starting to say that they're pulling stuff out of their own butts at this point, which is not even. So I just think it was funny to see that, and then see all the discourse going on about how it's just a simple cancel function to block bots from trying to gain access to the system. So
well, they literally are trying to pull a key out of a monkey's ass.
Exactly, and that's what I guess now the robots were made to defend it. I switched around our order a little bit just because the Hasbulla stuff goes a little bit better with the market stuff.
Well,
if you want to talk about,
quick,
yeah.
Just to mention the floor, we looked it up right before. The floor for the sewer passes are currently at 2.1 ETH.
You know what's funny is I saw them at 1.08 or something. I was gonna buy one.
Dude, you should have dumped your life savings.
I know. I'm just
Guys,
the worst
next time,
flipper.
This goes to show every time you see an NFT project, just dump your life savings into it because it might go up.
It might, yeah, exactly. It might go up.
That's financial advice.
But then there's also like, a very, very small chance that it won't go up. You know what I mean?
It's very, very small. I've only seen it happen about 3 million times.
Yeah, 3 million times.
That's coming from someone who spent 1.5 ETH in the bull run on a picture of a koala bear.
Where's that koala bear at right now?
Well, it's at about 0.007 or something. I'm depressed. Anyway,
we live and we learn, everybody.
Oh my god, so stupid. Okay.
I remember when I looked in your wallet for the first time, and that koala showed like it. I saw the koala in your wallet, and I was like, "What is this?" Because you had some gold in there. You know, you had some, you know what, you had a befriend at the time, and then
Yeah.
just the silly little koala. All right, I'm done ragging on
Most
you.
expensive purchase.
Let's continue.
So stupid. Okay.
It's fine. You can roast me about weather reports.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks for weather report,
Yeah,
motherfucker.
it's okay. It's okay.
So, CoffeeZilla versus Logan Paul. Has anyone been, type in chat if you've been following this series. It's very interesting.
We talked about it a little bit last week, but
Yeah.
whoa.
Slight mention, but, we wanted to get in a little bit more into it. Basically, CoffeeZilla, he's a very, he makes very, like, high quality, well thought out YouTube videos.
Highly
He
recommend.
definitely has a certain, agenda that he pushes. I'm just saying, like, the quality of his content and his investigations are typically very good. Whether or not you agree with, like, his stance and everything. Anyways, the whole background behind this situation is about a year and a half ago, Logan Paul had this crypto project called CryptoZoo. And, yeah, it was like a pretty weird project. Logan hyped it up and claimed it was like on his podcast, he said it was a fun way to make money. Yeah, the project was weird. I remember when he made that announcement and I went to check it out and they ran it through Telegram, which just turns me off for some gross reason. I don't like Telegram. And there were a lot of things brought up in this series by CoffeeZilla, in these 3 parts. Logan Paul was deeply involved in the project, promoted as a fun way to make money. Players could, the whole economy of the game, of this CryptoZoo game, was that, it had players buy zoo tokens, and then they bought eggs, and these eggs would hatch into, like, weird combinations of animals. And it was funny because Logan was hyping up the art so much, and, like, when the art was revealed, it, like, literally looked like those Google images of, like, when you mix, like, two animals together and it, like, looks like just like a dumb, like, shark giraffe. Like, it's like that. Anyway, so people dumped tons of money into this coin, and eventually Logan sort of disappeared from the project, and everyone was kind of like left holding bags, and some people like sold and cut their losses, like pretty tremendous losses in some cases. CoffeeZilla even had some of these like victims on his podcast. Now these guys are kind of, you kind of look at them and you're like, what the hell were you doing? Because some of them lost like upwards of $400,000 on this project. It's like, what? But anyway, it's still kind of sad, and it was promoted as a fun way to make money. And there was like weird breeding mechanics in this game. Anyway, after this 3-part series, I encourage you to watch it for more detail. That's just the overview. Logan released a statement after the 3-part series saying that CoffeeZilla was a scummy, false person, and he said he was going to sue him because he used like a text message from Logan's manager without his permission. Whatever, yada yada yada. Logan came out like punching, right? And then a few days later, Logan came out with another video apologizing, even thanking CoffeeZilla for saying the things that he said in this docuseries, bringing this to light, quote unquote, and saying the lawsuit was dropped. And Logan also announced that he was personally pledging $1.3 million in ETH to the victims for them to get out if they wanted to sell and get their original mint prices back. And he also promised that they would actually build out CryptoZoo. Now this is pretty weird. I was reading like a lot of the comments when Logan released this initial like a statement, or like when the statement saying that he was sorry and thank you after he had previously released a statement saying like the Coffee's a piece of shit. And people are just saying that like Logan realized that he's not gonna win this lawsuit, and having this lawsuit would just bring more eyes, like legal eyes, to what happened with CryptoZoo, and potentially open him up to being like prosecuted for shady actions in the Web3 space. There were a lot of weird things going on with CryptoZoo, a lot of shady characters. One of the lead developers even like stole their code for a couple months and like ran off to some country. Very weird.
I saw a couple screenshots like of his like Discord messaging in that server, and it's like everybody's like, I mentioned this last week very briefly. Everybody was like calling him out in the Discord general chat, and he basically just pops online and just says sup, and it's like his first message in like a year in the server, and people were just like so pissed and confused and thought he was basically kind of just like, it was a big middle finger. We talked about the similarities between this and the Lana Rhoades. What was it called?
The Lana, or
Crypto women.
Crypto Lana,
Yeah.
CryptoSys.
CryptoSys, yeah, same type of situation. We already covered that one in depth. I think it's just super important to kind of see what these influencers are kind of projecting onto the space, whether it's positive or negative. I think the engagement we get from somebody like Logan Paul will always be more significant for the space, as if he wasn't involved. But obviously, sketchy stuff like this, it shines our industry in a bad light. So, it just shows that somebody like this could easily get involved and prop something up, with their brand and their image, and kind of just quickly screw it out the back door instead of trying to build something. So very good. I think that's something to keep an eye on in the coming months for sure.
Yeah, you should watch that series if you haven't. It's pretty good. Or I would just like skip it. CoffeeZilla's response, that last video, that last video on the left, or actually this screen grab isn't on the slide, but the latest video CoffeeZilla posted is really funny. It's his response to Logan's apology, and the thumbnail is like he's like mocking Logan's previous thumbnail. There's a lot of funny little Easter eggs here, but yeah. Oh, like you said, when Logan said "sup," like he pulled another thing like that, like where after the CoffeeZilla thing came out, Logan went back into the Discord and said, "It's time to build now."
Yeah.
And then the Zoo coin shot up like hundreds of percentage points, and that was weird, because people, like you're holding a coin that you think is worthless that's been abandoned, and then all of a sudden
it just
all takes
yep.
Logan. It's funny.
Logan Paul.
I was like, damn, I wish I was holding the bag.
All right, I want to talk about this collection, for a couple of reasons. Now, if anybody isn't familiar with Hasbulla, I highly recommend checking him out or researching into him. He's a very funny human being. He's got a medical condition that basically prevents him from like fully aging, apparently how he should, and so he has the appearance of like a child. But he's an influencer. He's really out there in the community. He's big into racing and cars and UFC, and so he's just kind of like a public figure. This is the second NFT collection that he's dropped, and I wanted to highlight it for a couple of reasons. First, it proves a couple of things, and if you look at it, obviously, he's got at the top there's some traditional what we would consider like rare NFTs. There's a Logan Paul one on there. There's one for Khabib, just all of his friends, Caleb Presley, all of his friends, people that he's done interviews with. So those are like rare ones as part of the collection. But something that it's just interesting to me. It's a 10,000 NFT collection. I saw the advertisements for it early last week, I think Monday or Tuesday. There was a short video of Hasbulla. He doesn't speak English. He only speaks Russian. A short video of him speaking. My mint's launching tomorrow. Basically, the hype is out of this world. You're not going to want to miss it. And I was looking at the comments. It was his official Instagram post, I think, or something like it. It was something, and it only had like maybe 900, 1,000 likes on Instagram. And I went in the comments and I was reading and it said, most hype project, and barely even 1,000 likes, and he was just getting like kind of roasted for it. And I was like, it's bear market. He's rushing. He's trying to launch a project. Let's see how it does. Obviously, I was, I along with all those people in that were messaging him were wrong. It sold out. They sold out in 10 minutes. It minted for 0.05, and then it rose up to 0.16. I was watching it throughout the day. I was gonna buy one, didn't buy one. I'm very scared in this economic state, but something like this proved me wrong in the sense that this followed the trajectory of what we consider a traditional NFT PFP project to follow, in the sense of in 48 hours, that first week, it went through all of the kind of the pump and dump that we've come to expect, right? It sold out very fast. It minted fairly cheaply, and people saw almost a 200% gain. As the collection was slowly listed on OpenSea. Obviously, people were trying to buy to get in because they think they're too late. People are selling off, and then we see about a week later it starts to even itself out as to what we would consider like the true floor to be, around 0.8-ish. And there was a big window of opportunity for flippers, in the sense of people that are in NFT projects to make a quick buck. They're flipping PFPs, trying to mint something rare. A lot of these haven't even, I don't even think they've revealed yet too, so it's just all unrevealed. But to me, I'm not a fan of flipping culture, but it does show that something like this is at least possible. I haven't seen, something like this follow the trajectory, in months, in the sense of people being able to, enter in and, quickly get out. I listed all of the, like the roadmap on there because I think it's like a traditional, again, PFP centered NFT roadmap, promising, invitations to in-person events, Hasbi tokens, no clue how that's going to work. I think that Eagle FC is his official partner combat sports team, merch, and then whatever the Hasbula metaverse game is, no clue.
Oh my God.
But to me, it's just signaling of what we consider, the traditional PFP project trajectory to be, in the sense of, roadmaps published, sells out pretty quickly, people have an opportunity to flip, make profits, and then it kind of evens itself out over a couple days. And so when we're looking at like the market itself, it's just really encouraging in terms of NFTs as a whole, and we'll get into the next slide here because it coincides perfectly as kind of this return of the bull. And I've been seeing a little bit, a couple messages in chat, from our more knowledgeable economic folk of the community who, keep tabs on all this stuff on a day-to-day basis, who are under the belief that, there are certain indicators about this, the way the market's presenting itself right now that, shows that we're due for a nice breakout. And, there are a couple factors towards that. Obviously, we've been seeing, more positive environment in regards to inflation. And that's obviously helping the generalized economy, which will obviously translate into crypto. Analysts believe that the local indexes will drop over time, but they consider 19,000, 20,000 right now is a good indicator of what we consider a shallow dip. So something that's bound to break out within the next couple of weeks. That's more on the Bitcoin level. Ethereum, we've been seeing 1,600 steady for the last 4 or 5 days now, which is obviously really encouraging. I know I got an abundant of ETH, more than I needed, down to like 1,100, and I know a lot of people did as well. So, feeling pretty good about everything right now. And then obviously on the NFT side, $260 million in NFT sales last week, which is 17% increase from last week. Super encouraging. And the thing that's even more encouraging is the unique buyers, 320,000, which is 44% increase from last week. So very, very encouraging when we're looking at trends on OpenSea, what people are buying and minting. And then obviously I attached a picture of, that's Bored Ape number 4025, sold for good old grand 395 Ethereum.
Wow.
This week, which is, look at my notes, $617,000. So that's a big transaction. Yeah. And I think that's very indicative about kind of people's outlook on the market currently. So what are your thoughts on the market right now? I know you watch a little bit closer than I do sometimes. So
yeah, it's definitely, I've been seeing like just on some of the normal like skimming the shows I usually do in preparation for the show and just like in general. Definitely a more positive outlook. I remember for the past like 2 months, it's been pretty grim. Just the overall tone, and it was nice to see the boys on Nifty Alpha chipper up a little bit these past 2 weeks. So yeah, I mean, it feels good. It feels a lot better than what it was, dude. I think it's all these Hasbullas, dude. I can't believe they're. Sorry, I was been like just like looking at the floor. It's a pretty thick floor, but like unrevealed. Like
it's crazy. What the opportunity was there? Like I've seen that pattern so many times of mint price, double mint. It doubles the mint price, kind of reaches its peak, and then everybody panics and they try to sell because they're not taking in as much.
No, like dude, 5% of these people are going to be happy, and the rest are going to tank.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, but that's PFP culture, and unfortunately, that's whatever way you want to look at it, that makes me pretty excited. As much as I hate these types of projects, the opportunities are there. So, and then finally, I've attached. Let's see, where is it? To kind of round us out. Oh, I lost track of my PowerPoint here. Give me a second. I'm reusing the slide from last week because I think it's still applicable for anybody that missed it, about the current market situation. Be patient. Obviously, everything takes time. This is an extremely long-term space in terms of what you're holding your assets for. I'm not speaking about NFTs or Silk's assets. I'm just speaking about crypto in general. So just kind of understand that the technology, needs to take time to develop. There are solutions being published every day when we look at, the types of technology and dApps that are being offered. And just be patient. This chart is extremely indicative of, I think, of how everybody feels. I think, right now we're obviously all in like this euphoria, I'm a genius, thrill, belief time. But to be honest, I think the belief and thrill is kind of true of crypto consumers at all times, or else everybody would kind of always be down in this depression, disbelief area. And to be honest, I think that's something as an industry we do really well, which is not panicking. Obviously there's panic, but on a grand and so just being careful of yield farms, being careful of DeFi. Everything is extremely volatile right now. Obviously it's going trending upwards, but upwards volatility is just as bad, just as dangerous as volatility in the other direction. So just make sure you're protecting your assets, cold storage, making sure you're on top of keeping your wallet disconnected from sites and dApps that you use.
Yep.
I'm just seeing so much.
Keeping that wallet disconnected. Oh my God, because that turns your cold wallet hot, and that's, we talked last week about that crazy hack that happened because.
Yeah, when it comes to navigating, whether it's the Silk's portal, whether it's OpenSea, whether it's Uniswap, it's always best to just disconnect. Better safe than sorry in these instances always. Even with the most safe platforms. Obviously, we saw what happened last week with that hot wallet mishap from who was it again?
NFT God.
Yeah, NFT God. That's right.
Sucked.
So just protect yourself, and again, understand the volatility that we're in. Because while it's encouraging, there's always got to be cautious. And I'm a big believer of taking small profits when applicable. If you're a crypto trader, I've been doing some day trading recently, and just been super thrilled with the process the market's taking. And obviously for Silks, the better the market does as a whole, the more we prosper in terms of just the industry itself that we're in. So extremely hopeful and excited, and it's been a good week. And anything else you want to add before we open up the floor?
It's been a good week. Hopefully, in the words of Jacques Clouseau, hopefully the lovely weather continues.
The lovely weather will continue. Does anybody want to come up? Anybody want to talk about the portal? Anybody have any comments on things that they saw today? Got a couple minutes before we close on out.
You can come up and talk shit.
Yeah, Butters is pretty easy to roast. So.
Yeah, you can roast me.
I'm gonna stop.
You're gonna roast my wallet.
Find Butters seed phrase.